to the stage. Greetings, everyone. Greetings, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Brown Girls Are Beautiful. I'm your hostess and your melanated queen. Welcome, welcome, everyone. Heute Isam's Tag. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. And so, right now, it is a beautiful day outside. Soundwave, hey, how are you? You seem new. I haven't seen you before, but welcome here. So today we're going to be talking about an interview that I watched with Dame Dash, y'all, and it was very enlightening, I must say. So I want to go ahead and start exploring that and get into it. Make sure I can be heard. Okay, sounds like I can be heard. Good. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera on, y'all. You know, it's a little difficult trying to monitor what you're doing at the same time. Oh, it's Adriana. Well, nice to see you here, love. I'm glad to see you here. Okay, well, Miss Adriana, nice to have you in the building. All right, everybody, here I am. Here I am. I decided to come on here today. The one who wanted to sing. I remember. I never forgot. So, y'all, we got to talk about some things. We got to get into some things. And the reason I think that these live streams are so important is so that we can educate the public so that people are not falsely skewed about their opinions. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to delve into this interview with Dame Dash, and Dame Dash's mentor, but I also want to talk about the views and opinions of Charlie Kirk and how they have impacted our society, how they do not put things in proper context. So before we begin, there is a woman that made a YouTube channel, you all, and she decided that she wanted to share her insight about the mega act, and she had to actually depart from the group. She said she was born into a hate group, you all, and I want us to be able to examine and hear her story because I think this is where a lot of the antics come from. When we hear these people talk from a point of privilege with a very skewed perspective. So let me go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to click on this so you all can see and witness what I'm talking about here. Okay. So I'm sharing my screen and I'm going to go ahead and play this. All right.
Used to describe them.
All right. So she said she was born into a hate group, you all.
What I learned and what my personal experience is, then to cross reference all of the scriptures and the doctrines and everything that everybody said. So, first of all, that viewpoint of born and raised multi generational, I was the product of a community that this was their ideology since the beginning. And I was the child of multi generational family. So, every one of my aunts and uncles and my cousins and my mom and my grandparents and everybody, this was their absolute reality too. Okay, so here's what I believed about race. You have to go way back to the past life, which Mormons call the pre-existence. If you just Google Mormon pre-existence, and you can read all about that. I believed that I was literally birthed by one of the heavenly mothers and Heavenly Father, Elohim God, and that we lived in a life before we gained earth bodies where we could make choices and we had our personalities and our passions. Like the person that I am today, that's who I was in this past life. And all of God's spirit children were being born into this past life until he had amassed, billions and billions of people. And at that point, God, who was white, the heavenly mothers who were white, they called together all of the spirit children in what's called the council in heaven. And in this council in heaven, God told us that he wanted us to become a God like himself. And in order to do so, we'd have to come to earth, gain physical bodies. And if we passed the test, that we could come back to him and be gods and goddesses just like him and his heavenly wives. So God presents this plan for us to become like him. And his two sons volunteered to play a really pivotal role of savior. God wanted us to have free choice, and to do so, he'd have to have a sacrifice in the form of one of his children giving up their lives and also being that exemplar for everybody. So Jesus came forward, and Lucifer, who would later become Satan, and they had opposing views. All of us spirit children chose sides. 2/3 of us went with Jesus, and 1/3 of God's children went with Satan. Well, they lost the war, so they were cast out. They never received bodies. They could never become gods. And they are now these satanic forces that rule over the world, led by Satan. But of those 2/3, there were part of them that were kind of apathetic, kind of fence sitters was a word that one of the Mormon prophets used to describe them. And another phrase that the Mormon
Okay, I'm going to stop right here just to interject for a second, because if we refer back to Charlie Kirk, do you recall that he said that he did not believe in empathy, right? Empathy. So here she's talking about they were very apathetic. Apathetic meaning void of emotion. You don't really have a lot of empathy for other people if you see them going through something. So I just wanted to make that very clear. This is how she was brought up, and this is how she was raised, everyone.
prophets used to describe these people who, like, they got to stay in heaven, they got to come down to earth, and they hadn't quite followed Satan, but they weren't the best spirit children of God. The phrase that the Mormon prophets used for them is less valiant. They were less valiant in their past life. And so what happened to those people, according to
We have got to the point where literally anybody can build a fully working app without knowing how to code.
All right, so we're going to take this off the screen for a second. I'm going to skip past that. All right. But I thought this was very important to share. You said, greetings. How are you? I am doing okay. Thank you for joining today. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate all the love. So I'm going to go ahead and skip past that commercial. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and mute it and let that play. But I just want to give y'all a perspective of, how these people are raised and what they're born into. So a lot of times when you are trying to validate yourselves, you're not too happy right now. I'm so sorry to hear that. A lot of times when these people are trying to make you feel like you don't have a voice, or they try to invalidate your experience in life, or tell you and gaslight you into thinking that what you're living is not your reality, it's because that they have been raised this way, you all. So completely opposite of most of how we're raised. Okay, so let's continue to let her tell her story, because she wanted to share this on a public platform. So let's go ahead and share. Get back up here so you can hear what she had to say. And she describes it as a hate group, by the way.
families. And here's why being born to African families was such a curse. Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, Cain kills Abel. Cain is cursed with black skin. He's then removed from the Garden of Eden, which was in America, in Jackson County, Missouri. Adam on Diamond is the biblical Adamic language word that I was taught as a child. And so Cain was cast down to Africa, given black skin. All of his descendants were those less valiant spirits. So not only were they physically cursed, but they just weren't the best spirits to begin with. Now, if you're listening to this and thinking this is crazy, it absolutely is. And I don't know how very many adults who hear this convert to the Mormon church. I think it's really a tricky thing to sell these days. But again, that childhood indoctrination, I was born and raised into a community that taught this. And I've said in other videos that just as I was learning how to walk and talk and like zip up my own coat in the kindergarten coat closet, I was being taught you lived in heaven, Heavenly Father, the war in heaven, they're cursed, they're sent down, black people, they come from Africa, they were bad spirits, and then Cain was bad here on earth. So those are not good people, nor are the indigenous people of the United States, because the Book of Mormon, there was a good brother, there were two bad brothers. The bad brothers were cursed with brown skin. That's why the Indians have brown skin, because these are cursed people. And it would have been as difficult for me to unlearn that concept as it would have been to forget how to zip my coat in the kindergarten closet. Every cell in my body had accepted it as truth because I was taught it in scriptures, and scriptures don't lie. That's the truth. That's the most true thing in the world. Our prophets, our charismatic leaders with their big, bright smiles stood at the pulpits in our local congregations and sometimes speaking the whole world, talking about these truths. My parents, my family, my home reinforced it. The artwork, books that we had, music that was written just for children reinforced this. The whole community at large reinforced this truth. For me to think anything otherwise would have been like learning to walk sideways instead of forward. No, my knees bend. I'm supposed to go forward. I can't walk sideways. Black people are cursed. Native Americans are cursed. And this right here is why I think that it's more dangerous than joining like a neo-Nazi group, because I never had critical thinking to begin with. I didn't come from just a normal life. My whole life was this. There are two other really important ideologies that are kind of foundational to my white supremacy. One of them was the battle of good and evil that was constantly going on. And that battle of good and evil made me look at people who were suffering as people who God was punishing. So let me give you an example of this. I know I've shared in another video that I was born in 1974. So I grew up with the Ethiopian famines. And I remember seeing them on the news and going to my grandma and saying, "Can we send some money?" Like somebody had said, "You can send money or something to help with food, put a check in the mail, do this." And my grandma saying, "Oh no, God has cursed them. We can't interfere with that." I viewed everything as a battle of good and evil. If you were being punished, then God was doing that to you, and it wasn't my place to interfere. And I would look around at all of the suffering in the world. So Africa and Mexico, some of the Middle Eastern countries and stuff that were less developed in the 70s and 80s. And to me, that was just further proof. Oh, yeah, God is really giving those people their consequences for being evil people, for not being Mormon, for not being righteous, and for choosing evil and idolatrous ways. And then look at me and look at my community. We're so happy. We're so blessed. We have so much money. Never once did I think that's privilege or we have gotten here by stomping on everybody else. To me, my community was being blessed and their community was being cursed because they followed Satan and I followed Jesus. That battle of good and evil was almost like rooting for a sports team, and I had so much indifference to it. I'm rooting for Jesus, and Jesus is going to take really good care of me. They're all on Satan's side. Like, we already know who's going to win this Super Bowl. It's going to be Jesus. Another teaching.
Okay, so right there, you all, I just want to interject for a minute. Is very important. It's extremely important that we put this into proper context. And I think these are the conversations that have negated to be had, okay? Because when you start talking about these issues and these topics, like I said on my previous videos, the hit dogs will holler. She's coming from a perspective of growing up in this. So a lot of these people have grown up around people that think this way. She was born in 1974, she said. 1974. So she's, let me see. I got to do some math calculations for a second, y'all. Let me pull up my calculator. If it is 2025 and she was born in 1974, give or take, whenever her birthday falls, she's around 50 or 51 years old. So she's been on this planet for basically half of a century knowing this. And so when you try to communicate as melanated people to these people that you cannot reason with about your experiences that you've had, this is why they basically turn their ear to you as if you are getting on their nerves. They don't want to hear it. And they're always going to say that you're, playing the victim, right? They're not going to have empathy for you. So this is why I say on the channel, stop trying to prove yourselves and feel validated by these people. You will never win with these people. You might as well just give up and validate yourselves. This is a time where we all, as melanated people, need to put differences aside and come together as a whole. We need to stop being divisive over religious practices, over if you believe in Jesus, if you're a Christian, if you don't believe in Christianity. All of that is irrelevant. She's telling you right now that she actually left her religion because she learned later in life that she was indoctrinated incorrectly and miseducated about a lot of things. And it took her up until this point in her life to be able to come forward and share her experience on a public platform. There are so many other people that have been indoctrinated by religious groups, by ideologies imposed upon them by their families. And they had to actually move away from these people and pull away. And they are criticized and ridiculed because other people don't believe, that they should follow their own instinctual, logical brains. So I think it's important to share these narratives, you all. I thought that was a very insightful conversation. I'm going to actually stop playing this video, and then we're going to get into some Dame Dash, y'all. I'm going to skip past the Dame Dash part. He's a very interesting character. If you ever get a chance, check out all of his interviews. All of them are entertaining. I always like watching Dame Dash. There's never a dull moment whenever he is in an interview. But I'm going to go ahead and play this because this is the narrative that Charlie Kirk will not present to the public and the media. So I want you to hear, this is Dame Dash's mentor. For those of you who are not familiar with Dame Dash, you all know back in the day, he started off with Jay-Z and they founded Rockefeller together, Rockefeller Records. If you know who Rockefeller was, this was actually a Caucasian from the 1800s that actually is the reason why we have the school system today. So for those of you who have to go to school, you can blame the real Rockefeller for that. You said, I highly appreciate that, especially to my favorite BGAB, Heart. Thank you so much. Shout out to you. All right, so let's get into it, okay? This is Dame Dash.
Right. Please sit down, because I learn so much from you every day.
All right, and this is his mentor.
This is my OG. And I think you should ask him and talk to him. This man, when his wife was sick, he did not leave her hospital for 4 weeks. I would call him every day, correct? He never left her till she passed. I'm never, and that was what I call manning up. You know what I'm saying? Then when she passed, he had the illest wedding. Then I'm talking about fireworks, doves. The whole Harlem was out there. Strong. He looked like the mob boss. I wanted to be him right there, even when he was in pain. He's still. Now I'm Dame Dash. I do give people props that deserve it. This is my OG. I give him the respect he deserves because he still teaches me. And then we know what he did? He threw heaven up in Harlem. Thousands of people came through. The mayor came through. That's
I saw that.
But you didn't say nothing about it. That's the problem, girl.
So, you just did all of that, giving this man all his
ask me
props
some
and got it
questions
in like that.
Don't tell me what to do. Go ahead.
How is your mental health? How are you?
Yeah, how you doing? How you doing, OG?
Yo, shut the fuck up from back there.
Hey, how you doing,
You ain't
OG?
in the interview no more.
All right, so for those of you who are not aware, this guy right here lost his wife. I think she had some type of illness or sickness, and so he's going to speak on that.
That's crazy.
What you mean?
Same fight, different round, bro.
I want that.
It's one day at a
Yo,
time.
For people that don't know, how do you inspire the
This
people to
man
come?
trying to talk about his life,
OG,
man. You
man.
disrespectful.
For people that
You
don't know,
disrespectful.
especially with Dame, how do you teach the people that come up under you the right morals to make sure they make it and not end up in jail?
Just, right is right. Wrong is wrong. Everybody got that in them. You know what's right. You know what's wrong. Just follow your heart. Do what's right. You go murder somebody or you hurt somebody, you harm somebody today. When you go home at night, you might say, yeah, I put that work in. Then you probably think too, like, damn, I really hurt that boy. You know what I mean? I caused him pain. The rule of life to me is treat people how you want to be treated. You don't want to have holes put in you. You don't want to be injured, leaking on the ground. Why would you do that to somebody else?
OG, question, you from Harlem, I'm from Queens. A lot of times people don't see eye to eye, right? Same color skin, came from the same area. And it almost seems like a crab in the barrel syndrome. How do you tell these young people to stop that? Even with Dame and some of the people that he beefs with or goes back and forth with. How do you have those conversations and say we better as collabs versus competition?
It's hard, bro. It's hard right now. Like, for example, like he said at the cookout, I do the cookout every year.
Of course.
So I said, when my wife was alive, we talked and we was like, yo, we got a big crowd.
All right, and so for in the comment section, I see some of y'all saying that y'all are going through depression, which is why I want you to really listen to what this guy says, okay? Because he's going to touch on losing his wife. So just keep following along, all right? Because I think this can be very impactful and helpful for those of you out there who may be suffering through something. Imagine losing a loved one. And I want you to hear what he had to say. So let's go ahead and listen to this. So just a minute. Let me go back and play this video for y'all.
A lot of people coming. do something positive with it, right?
Mhm.
So we talked one night and we said, you know what? Let's just try to bring all our sons together. Let's introduce our sons to each other.
That's powerful.
So they don't be out here beefing and fighting because they don't know each other.
Yeah.
Not knowing the relationship that their fathers be having, that's supposed to bring them some unity
Right.
amongst each other. So, I just say that to say, like, this year, I do it for the last 5 years. I've been doing that part. And this year, I got really emotional because, like you said, I'm telling brothers, let's come together. Let's stand together for a minute. Like all this bubblegum shit y'all up here doing right now, going back and forth, that's cool. It's entertainment. There come a time when we all really need to come together and stand tall, as black men, as a black unit. We haven't done this shit, bro. So at the cookout, that it gets me excited because I'm like, okay, let's come together.
Put their differences to the side.
Right. Like half of the group will come together and the other half of the group is still walking around doing,
Not to
shit
cut
that
you
don't
off,
really
OG.
make.
Let me just say one thing.
Yeah.
This is what he does. I call him tough love. So when he's there, he's talking like he's saying some bad shit, but he'll be like, if you motherfuckers, you ain't gonna give each other a hug, then get the fuck out of here. Hug him right now.
No.
Y'all better hug right now.
He be exaggerating.
No, I don't. I'll show it to you.
He be exaggerating, but I do get a little, tight because, it hurts me to see that we can't come together for shit, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about you bringing your son, I'm bringing my son. We talking about our sons. We can't do this shit for our sons, bro. Like we can't take a minute to just honor up and just be a man and let's show unity to our sons.
So let me just stop right here and interject for a moment. As you can clearly see, Charlie Kirk wasn't talking about these conversations that are had between melanated males, melanated men, and their sons. This man said he has a son and he's trying to come in unity together with his community. So Charlie Kirk was speaking from a perspective of white privilege, right? He has no inclination to even begin to understand melanated culture as a whole. He did not have to grow up in whatever atrocities or difficulties of some of these melanated males. So he cannot speak from a perspective of a melanated person and try to tell melanated people about how they are and about their problems. It's very dangerous to miseducate and misinterpret a whole group of people and get on a political platform for the entire nation and try to ridicule and criticize all melanated people as a whole. You can't do that. So let's keep going. Respect to this guy right here.
Sons, for an example, in a lifetime, we don't really do this type of shit since the Million Man March. So I'm from Harlem, like you from Queens. We come from that shit. We know how ugly it is. Like you said, the shit is ugly, bro. As a man, like I'm a grown man now. I was young, I did all that shit. But as a grown man right now, I got a purpose. It's something in life that I need to do. If not for nobody else, it's for my sons, my kids, and just to show them some type of unity that we could do this shit. Let's bring this shit together.
Yeah.
Like, we ain't got to wait for nobody else to come along. We here now. What we going to wait for? The next Malcolm X? Next Malcolm? Nah, we here now. You know what I'm saying?
So condolences on your strength, brother.
Absolutely. No.
I know
What he
that.
did, what he
For you
did
to be in
there.
here right now.
I ask him. Ask him. I was like, damn. When Aaliyah died, I could have done it better. He taught me how to deal with that situation. Do you mind if I tell him a little about the Larry situation? So
Chatty Patty ain't gonna he gonna do it anyway. So
you see, when I said, "Do you mind?" If he would have said no, I would have given him utmost respect. But you don't have Wendy Williams would have told you to do it.
You are Wendy Williams,
right? So, can I just say something?
Go ahead.
So, Larry is the guy that actually called my son for Cam, and I had mentioned him. And I was like, because I knew Larry before. And, he did some things. Actually, that's a longer story, but he did some things I didn't like. So I wasn't messing with him no more. I thought I actually found him not to be intelligent. So, and he was the reason why I got a couple of these lawsuits. So Daniel was like, I like him. I'm fucking with him, man. All right, if you're not fucking with him, I'm not fucking with him. Cam didn't do that. He's his best friend. But Larry called them. And Larry's wife is going through a similar situation. So I guess he was trying to trauma bond with him. And my OG goes, "Where you at right now?" And he goes, "I'm in my bed, sleep. Your wife is." I'm gonna let him take it from there. If you want to tell us.
I mean, he didn't say he was in his bed sleep, but I asked him where he at because I could relate to his wife being in the hospital. He told me some things and it just triggered some shit in my situation, watching my wife go through all these different situations. And I just said to him, how could you be anywhere but by her side right now?
Yeah.
If she dying, bro, she had her last days. Like for me, when the doctors told me I might have weeks to days or months to weeks, I needed all that.
Absolutely.
Let's stop right there for a minute because I think this is very impactful in this instant, in this moment. So there are people in the comment section saying that they're going through depression, right? And depression is nothing to take lightly, you all. I think we've all been there. And it is easy to fall into depression no matter what your age is, especially if you have to go through the atrocities and the injustice that we face as melanated people on a global scale, especially here in America, where we are definitely dealing with oppression. And what I want to say is this man is telling you that his wife had only a very limited amount of time to be here on this planet. This is why I always say on the channel, take time for yourselves and build your dreams. I don't care if you have to work on your dream for 20 minutes a day. You are more important than anything else. Your dreams, your goals, your ambitions, your wishes, the reason that you came here. Find out what your hobbies are. Find out what you enjoy. Take time and spend it with yourself. I don't care if you have to be in isolation, but you were put here not to suffer, people. You are not put here to feel that you are inferior or you're deficient in any way, no matter what people tell you. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's the Caucasian. I don't care if it's people that you know, your relatives, your friends. I don't care who these people are. If you go to school with them, you were put here to live out your purpose. And it is so important to figure out what these things are. Usually your purpose is something that you enjoy, that you don't even get paid for. It's something that you're naturally good at, naturally gifted at. Usually these are things that you're meant to do in this world. And it's important that we not glaze over this moment, right? Now, this lady has a husband that loved her, right? This man obviously loved his wife. But did Charlie Kirk talk about that in his speeches? He didn't talk about men like this. He didn't talk about the melanated atrocities that people face across this globe, across America. No, he was fixated on all of the downtrodden stories that they push in the agenda and the narratives in social media. They have blatantly used propaganda techniques to assassinate the melanated people's character. Okay. Operation Mockingbird. Please look that up. It is very real and it is still happening today. Let's keep listening to what this man has to say. So if you feel depressed, imagine if you only had a very limited amount of time to be here and you wouldn't get to live another day, or you would only get to live here another couple of weeks or a few months, and you had to hurry up and make a decision for yourself on what makes you happy. Why didn't I pursue my goals? This is very important. So make sure y'all pay attention.
Every second, every minute left. You know what I mean? To be with my wife, bro. Like nothing else is more important than time.
Listen to what he said. Every second counts. What did I tell y'all? Every second of your life counts. Every second of every minute. I'm going to minimize me and I want to put it more on him. Hold on, y'all. All right. Let this man speak.
Might have weeks to days or months to weeks. I needed all that.
Absolutely.
I needed every second, every minute left. You know what I mean? To be with my wife, bro. Like nothing else is more important than time.
Right.
If we had $1 billion, you give up that $1 billion for some more time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I needed to be with her and I needed to let her know I'm right by your side. When you dying, if you ever come to that point, you dying, it's one thing you probably need more than anything. Just somebody right there next to you, especially, hold on, Dane, especially if it's your wife, if it's your girl. You want somebody to be next to you.
That's right.
Even as a man, I don't think I would want nothing else, probably my wife or some, just right next to me, knowing that you next to me would help, some comfort.
He told Larry,
And
if
I'm
you don't
telling
get
him,
back there over there, I'm fucking you up. He said, next time I see you, I'm fucking you up. That's what he said.
You just cut him off.
No, it's cool. But
You know what? Because I wanted to understand that that's where the toughness comes in.
As an OG,
If somebody,
that's the type
if
of-
somebody,
All right, why is this important right now, y'all? This is very important. Let's make sure we pay attention to what he was just saying. So they have a mutual friend named Larry. Dame Dash has a friend named Larry. He wasn't dealing with Larry anymore, so he got his mentor involved to speak to Larry on his behalf. Well, Larry was going through something with his wife, very similar to this guy that we're talking about, right? The mentor. Larry's wife, I don't know, she could be in some type of critical condition or facing like a life-threatening illness where she might have limited time. So the mentor told Dame Dash, all this petty stuff y'all have going on, put it to the side, because right now this man has real life circumstances going on with his wife. It's very limited time. We need to tend to his wife first. This comes first. So I want to make sure everybody understands what we're talking about here.
he
That's
said,
the
"Yo,
type
I don't
of
want to hear
dude I
nothing."
am.
He don't want to hear nothing about the can. He said, "Your wife is dead. You don't cook me
But
about
that's
that.
just my
I will beat you
personality.
up if you don't go.
Word up.
If you're not
Dang.
by your wife's side every day." I'm sorry.
No,
Chatty
I'm just
Patty.
saying I came at him like that as a
Chatty
friend.
Patty,
Yes.
stupid.
You know what I mean? Even though he going through what he going through with him. And I told Dame too. Yo, Dame, his wife going through some shit right now. It's time for us to on up. Fuck all that. That shit ain't important. This life and death situation is more important. See, what the dude got to understand is love is powerful, man. You know what I mean? You got a wife, right?
Yeah.
You know how much she mean to you?
31 years.
I had 37. So when you got a wife, like I tell dudes, when you go to jail,
All right, y'all. Hold on. I think they took my stream down. Let me see. Yeah, they did. All right, y'all. I don't know if y'all can hear me or not, but I think they took the live stream down. Hold on one second. Let me see. All right, let me go back. Okay, yeah, they took it down, but I still have it saved. Are y'all still in the building? Let me know if y'all still here. Let me know if y'all still here, because I'm going to put this on my Patreon so y'all can actually look at it as well. All right, it looks like I'm back up. All right, it looks like I'm back up. So let me know if y'all still here. Are y'all still here? Are y'all still here with me rocking out? Let me know in the chat section, y'all. Let me know in the chat section if y'all are still here. Okay, good. So I think they interrupted the stream because they didn't want me playing it. Okay, glad to know y'all still here. So you get the point. You get the point what I'm talking about. How it's very critical that we take into account what's important in life, right? Y'all can go check the video out on your own. But like I said, I'm gonna put this on my Patreon for free. So if you want to see it for free, you can definitely watch it for free on here on my Patreon channel as well. And I just want people to put things into perspective and prioritize themselves. There was even more that the guy said, and what I'll do is instead of putting it up on the screen, I'm going to do it this way. Hold on one second, okay? I'm going to go in here and I'm going to play it and just put my phone up so that they don't try to strike it or anything. So hold on one second, y'all.
who you call? Your wife. Like, I ain't got nobody to call right now. I had to think about this shit the other day. Something was to happen.
Like before, it was like, yo, I called wifey. She knew just what to do immediately. Absolutely. I don't have nobody. I gotta get a new number, memorize a number automatically. So at the end of the day, his man was going through it with his wife, and I just told him, bro, out of respect, if I find out you not by her side, I'm fucking you up. Like, that's some sucker shit. You a bitch ass nigga. If you don't be by her side, I got mad. I get upset. I'm emotional. You know what I mean? My emotions come out sometimes. And it is what it is. I am who I am. And that's how I just roll on that purpose alone. But, I told him, and he was like, you know what, OG, you're right. Because you can't sit around talking about, yo, I had to come home for a minute. Or you sitting in your bed eating TV dinners and shit like that. Your fucking wife is in the hospital dying. Yeah. You know what that shit must feel like? You know you ain't gonna make it, shit like that. So, yeah, that's what happened with homie. And I hope I got through to him and he spending time with her. He probably should be right next to her right now. You know what I'm
You have
saying?
like an organization or something?
So really put things into perspective, y'all. I know that a lot of times people think that they have it so bad, and it can be worse. Okay. Trust me, things can be worse. When you're living, in a situation and you have a limited amount of time, you don't know what can happen, from today or tomorrow. So just make sure you put yourself first. Live out your goals, live out your dreams and everything. All right. I'm going to stop this video and I'll probably start another one because I think they ended my last stream. So if you decide to click back on, you can, but I'm going to go ahead and end it here and I will tune in with y'all later. Okay. Thank y'all so much for everybody that joined the chat. I appreciate you all, but I'll be back on in probably a couple of seconds.